The stars were silent. In the cold space near the planet Veltrax, thousands of alien ships floated in perfect formation. Their metal bodies shined under the light of a dying sun. Inside the command ship, Supreme Commander Zeltor stood tall, his 4 eyes watching the holographic map in front of him. "We have won every battle," he said with pride. "Humans were weak. Their tactics were foolish. We crushed them." The officers around him laughed. They remembered how humans used to fight ambushes, traps, fake signals, and old-style missiles. It was almost funny, primitive minds. One general said, "Yes," Zeltor agreed. "They were always behind us. We had better ships, faster weapons, smarter computers." He waved his hand, and the map zoomed out. The Earth and all its colonies were marked as destroyed. There was no human fleet left, no bases, no resistance. Humanity was gone, or so they thought. A strange signal suddenly. The control room lights blinked. "Commander," an officer called. "We are receiving a signal. Unknown frequency. Very old format." Zeltor frowned. "Where is it coming from?" "Sector 9. Near the old human colony on Titan's edge." Everyone became silent. "That colony was destroyed a century ago." "Put it on screen," Zeltor ordered. The screen showed nothing, just static. Then a sound. It was a deep, repeating tone, like a pulse, dot. "Boom, boom, boom, what is this?" the commander asked. Then came a voice, broken, robotic, but clearly human. "Tactical protocol activated. Vengeance protocol, online." The signal stopped. The officers looked at each other. "What was that?" someone whispered. The sensor team spoke next. "An object is moving from the edge of the system. Fast. Very fast. It's big." "How big?" Zeltor asked. The officer turned pale. "It's the size of a city." Arrival of the beast on the edge of Veltrax space, the object came into view. It was shaped like a spearhead. Black metal. Burnt edges, covered in old battle scars. No lights, no energy signature. It moved like a ghost through space. The aliens called it a relic, but it was something else. A ship. A human battleship. Its name was written in faded letters. On its side, HSS Nightfall, the last of its kind, one of the oldest weapons humans ever made. Thought to be lost. Thought to be dead. It had returned mockery before the storm sent a drone. Zeltor said. A small alien scout ship moved close to the Nightfall. It scanned the hull. No life signs. No energy. It's just floating. Dead ship. The officers laughed again. This is their big comeback. Someone said, "One old ship. Let's destroy it and move on." But Zeltor was cautious. "No. I want to capture it. Bring it into orbit. We will study it." 10 small ships were sent to pull the Nightfall with tractor beams. As soon as the beams touched the hull, everything changed. The Nightfall came alive. Its engines lit up in blue fire. Its weapons glowed red. One by one, the alien ships exploded. The first strike Exceltor stood frozen as the holographic map showed the destruction. "Where did it get power from?" he shouted. "No idea, sir. It was hidden. It has its own core, some kind of dark energy reactor." The Nightfall didn't speak. It didn't warn. It simply acted. Missiles shot out silently. Laser beams sliced through the black of space. Alien ships tried to dodge, to slow in 3 minutes. 17 ships were gone. "Call for backup," someone screamed. A fleet of 100 ships was sent to fight the human battleship. Outdated tactics that worked. The aliens had better weapons. Faster engines, smarter AIs. But the Nightfall didn't care. It used tricks no alien had seen in years. It shut off power to become invisible to sensors. It launched fake beacons to confuse enemy targeting. It sent out old radio signals that caused alien systems to glitch. Then it attacked from blind spots, places no one expected. One alien captain shouted, "They're using ancient war moves." His ship exploded before he finished the sentence. Fear begins to spread in the control room. Zeltor was silent. He had seen many wars. He had fought many races. But this was something new. "How is this possible?" he asked. "Why would they send one ship?" An old alien general stepped forward. "I remember stories," he said slowly. "About this ship. It was built after the last human colony was destroyed. built in secret, a weapon of shame. Humans never used it. Until now, why not? Zaltor asked. Because it wasn't made to win wars, the general said. It was made to end them, the voice returned suddenly. The ship sent another message, a simple text broadcast on all screens. You laughed at our tactics. You forgot why we used them. Now remember. Zaltor's hands trembled. He realized something. This wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about war. It was a message, and the message had only just begun. The Nightfall moved through space like a shadow. It did not fly fast. It did not make noise. But every alien who watched its path felt one thing: fear. The alien fleet near Veltrax had lost over 30 ships in just 1 hour. They had no answers, no victories, no survivors, and no idea what was coming next inside the Galactic Command Center. Alarms echoed. Supreme Commander Zaltor slammed his fist on the table. Why didn't our sensors detect it earlier? He shouted. A nervous officer replied, Because, sir, it was hidden in the dust fields for 200 years, sleeping, waiting. Another voice added, And it's human tech. We've never seen a ship built like this before. Alien High Command in Pennac across the galaxy. Alien war councils met in secret. Every species in the Alliance had the same question. Where did the ship come from? Some believed it was a myth. Others thought it was an old Earth weapon gone rogue. But a few whispered the most dangerous idea of all. Maybe humans never truly lost the war. The investigation begins on the planet Yalzer 3. The Alliance's science fleet gathered. 10 research ships were sent to follow the Nightfall from a distance. Their mission: observe it, scan it, find its weakness. Lead scientist Dr. Varric, a tall and thin Yulari, stood inside his lab ship. He stared at the readings from the Nightfall. This thing is not like other human ships, he muttered. His assistant, Kren, asked, How so? The hull is layered in unknown materials. Weapons are fused with the structure. It has no heat output, no engine trails, yet it moves perfectly. It's like the ship is alive, a dangerous probe DR. Varric decided to launch a small drone. Near the Nightfall, the drone slowly approached the battleship. Everyone watched the screen carefully as the drone touched the outer hull. The screen went black, then static, then a strange image appeared. A human face male, serious with glowing eyes, looked into the drone's camera. Then he spoke in English. You're not ready to know what we are. The drone exploded. Who is Commander Wren? Inside the Nightfall, Commander Wren stood in the command center. He looked older than he should. Cryosleep had taken its toll. His face had deep lines, and his body felt heavy, but his eyes were sharp. He looked at the hologram in front of him. Alien ships watched from a distance. He smiled. They think I'm alone, he said softly. A calm, mechanical voice replied, Technically you are, but your crew lives in the ship's memory banks. Wren turned to look at a long wall filled with lights. Each light was a Minda soldier, pilot, or officer who had died long ago but had their thoughts and skills copied into the ships. AI, they were ghosts of humanity, and they had awakened. The purpose of the Nightfall, was not just a warship. It was something more. It was Earth's final weapon, created during the last days of the human galactic war, when Earth realized they were losing. They built this ship in secret. Its mission: hide, sleep, and return when the time was right. Now, Wren was the last human alive, and the galaxy had forgotten why they feared humanity. The Nightfall was here to remind them. Alien spy team back on Yalzer 3. A new plan was made. We will send a stealth team onto the ship, Commander Zaltor said. Let's see what they're hiding inside. A small ship with 6 elite alien spies was prepared. Their tech was cloaked. Their mission: board the Nightfall while it passed near the moons of Eltor. The team landed on the outer hull. No alarms, no defense. The ship allowed them in. Inside, the beasts, the aliens, walked slowly through the dark halls of the Nightfall. Everything was quiet. Too quiet. No lights, no movement, but the walls. They whispered. One spy stopped. Do you hear that? The others nodded. It was like voices. In their minds, whispers, human voices, old recordings, memories. Then a loud voice echoed in the corridor. You entered without permission. You broke the rule. Now you will see the truth. Doors opened in front of them. Screens lit up. The aliens saw the past. They saw how humans had once fought clever, dirty, and brave. They saw colonies burning. They saw alien leaders laughing at human weakness. And then they saw a child, alone, crying as alien soldiers marched away. One spy dropped his weapon. "This is not a warship," he whispered. "This is a graveyard." One spy escapes only. One alien spy survived. He ran back to the escape pod and launched away as fast as he could. His name was Vero, a young officer from the Grell species. His face was pale. His voice shook as he contacted his leaders. "What did you find?" they asked. Vero answered in a whisper. "The ship is full of human minds. Thousands, stored like data. They talk, they plan, they remember. It's not a battleship anymore. It's a soul machine." Galactic Council fractures when Vero's message was broadcast. It shook the Alliance. Some leaders wanted to destroy the Nightfall, and now send every fleet they had. Others were afraid. "We attacked their colonies," one said. "We mocked their culture." Another added, "If humans ever return, we won't survive." For the first time in 200 years, the alien empires were divided. And Ren knew this. Ren's message to the Galaxy Commander Ren stood before the Nightfall's main console. He pressed a button. A transmission was sent across the stars. It reached every station, planet, and ship. It was short. "We were not the strongest. We were not the fastest. But we never stopped learning. Now you will learn too." The screen turned black. A countdown appeared. Tactical demonstration. In 12 hours, the countdown was ticking dot across every screen in the galaxy. The numbers glowed red. 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 59 seconds. 11 hours, 59 minutes, and 58 seconds. Billions of beings stared at it in fear. No one knew what the Nightfall would do when the timer reached 0, but everyone knew it wouldn't. Be peaceful. Inside the control room of the Nightfall, Commander Ren stood tall. He asked. The ship's AI replied, "Alien fleets are forming. 72 battle groups have moved into defensive positions." Ren smiled. "Good. Let's see if they've learned anything, or if they're about to make another mistake." A meeting of Aragonzon, the capital world of Zeltrax Prime. The Alliance War Council met in emergency session. Supreme Commander Zeltor slammed his hand on the table. "We will not let one old human ship scare the galaxy," he shouted. "They are bluffing." Another general replied, "Sir, we have no idea what that ship is capable of. It destroyed 30 of our warships using outdated weapons." "Outdated?" Zeltor laughed. "Then we should be embarrassed. This time we strike properly with strength and numbers." He ordered 3 fleets to surround the Nightfall in a triangle formation. "We will crush them. Nothing survives." A triple flanking maneuver. The trap begins in deep space. The Nightfall floated near a gas giant. Silent, dark, waiting, 3. Alien fleets moved into position from different angles. They locked their weapons. One alien officer said, "Easy kill." Another added. But none of them noticed the debris around the ship's small pieces of metal drifting harmlessly, except they weren't harmless. They were mines, old style, space mines, and they were cloaked in radiation masks, just like humans used to do. 200 years ago, the tactical Aretha Lead Fleet launched its first wave of missiles. As they closed in, Ren whispered now. The Nightfall lit up. Missile bays opened, but the ship didn't fire at the alien ships. Instead, it fired at the gas giant behind them. Huge torpedoes slammed into the planet's upper atmosphere. Seconds later, the planet exploded in a shockwave. Reaction caused by the mix of radiation and plasma. The wave hit the nearest alien fleet first. Their shields shattered. Ships spun out of control. Explosions filled the space around them. Fleet 2 tried to move in, but triggered the cloaked mines. Fleet 3 rushed forward to help, only to fly into a cloud of nanomirrors that blinded their targeting systems in less than 5 minutes. All 3 fleets were in chaos. Ancient moves, modern Impactalian commanders screamed in confusion. "Why is our tech failing? Their tactics make no sense. They're not even trying to destroy us directly." Commander Ren watched it all calmly. "They still don't understand," he said. The AI replied, "They see war as strength. We see war as strategy." Ren nodded. "They brought numbers, we brought thought." The broadcast trend activated the ship's broadcast system again. His face appeared on every enemy screen. He said just one sentence. You made a tactical error, thinking we fight like you. Then the signal cut. A moment later, dozens of alien ships began to retreat. The surviving commanders gave the same order. Fall back, avoid contact. Backlash, in the council stood frozen in the council chamber. His most trusted generals were gone. His plan had failed. He knew our move before we made it, someone whispered. He used the planet as a weapon. Another said, that's insane. But the worst part was still to come. An officer entered the room. Sir, we've confirmed. A signal inside our fleet network. What kind of signal? A virus, something human. It copied itself across our ships during the battle. Zeltor's eyes widened. What does it do? The officer answered. It plays a message. Over and over into the minds of our troops. The message was simple. A child's voice, human, soft. We were not fast. We were not strong, but we listened. We watched. We waited. Now it's your turn to learn. Fear spreads like fire across the galaxy. Morale among the alien ranks collapsed. Some soldiers refused to go to the front. Others destroyed their own targeting systems, afraid they were infected. A few high-ranking officers even defected, sending messages to the Nightfall asking to parley. One alien said, we thought they were gone, but humans, they were never gone, just quiet. Ren's silencing sighed the Nightfall. Ren sat alone in the captain's chair. He didn't smile, he didn't cheer, he simply waited. Send another fleet, the AI said. No, Ren replied, they'll send themselves. That's how fear works. He stood and looked out the window. They made a mistake, he whispered. Now we let them make 10 more. The stars around the Nightfall were still burning from the last battle. The alien fleets had been broken. The galaxy had been shaken. But inside the massive human battleship, something deeper was happening. Something even more dangerous than the weapons. A man had awakened, and the galaxy didn't know it yet. But he was the reason the Nightfall had survived. Cryochamber 01, deep within the cold metal halls of the Nightfall. Steam hissed from an ancient cryochamber. The ice began to melt. Fingers twitched. Then, a man took his first deep breath in 200 years. He opened his eyes. His name was Commander Elias Ren. The AI voice spoke softly. Commander Ren. Cryosleep disengaged. Systems are stable. Time since last activation, 218 years, 3 months, 12 days. Ren sat up slowly. His body felt heavy, stiff, older than it should, but his mind was sharp. He didn't ask where he was. He already knew. He asked. The AI answered, enemy fleets have engaged. Tactical response successful. Morale, disruption, achieved. All Phase 1 objectives complete. Flashbacks. Why he was chosen as Ren, dressed in his black command suit. Old memories came rushing. Back, he remembered Earth's final days. The chaos, the surrender, the silence. The other nations had fallen. The colonies had burned. And when humanity stood at its last breath, they built the Nightfall not to win, but to remind the galaxy what humans truly were. Not soldiers, not conquerors, but survivors, with unpredictable minds. The kind who didn't follow rules. The kind who invented new rules when the old ones failed. Meeting the crew of Ghost Ren stepped into the command bridge. Empty seats filled the room, once held by a living crew. Now only glowing lights sat above each chair. Crew status, Ren asked. The AI replied, mental impressions of original crew remain active in tactical memory. Captain Reese, present. Gunnery Officer Vega, present. Navigation, AI-4, online. Ren stood silent. They weren't alive. But they weren't gone either. They were echoes of the past, stored in the Nightfall's core. Their thoughts, strategies, emotions all saved when Earth died. He looked at the chair next to his. Still, saving me a seat, huh, Reese? A voice from the speaker said, you were always late, sir. Preparing for Phase 2, Ren stood before the massive star map on the main screen. He pointed to the core systems of the Alien Alliance. Here, he said, the planet Varix 9. That's where their war signals come from. If we silence it, their command structure crumbles. Direct attack, the AI asked. Ren shook his head. No, we don't fight like they do. Let them fear the silence first. He turned to the control console. Open old Earth protocols, unpredictable. Warfare models, Phantom, Raven, and Decoy. Confirmed, said the ship. He smiled. Let's teach them why humans never played fair. Meanwhile, Alien Council in shock back in the alien capital. Supreme Commander Zeltor watched recordings from the spy drone they had sent earlier. He saw Ren's face, one scar across his eye. Cold expression, calm, deadly voice. "Who is this human?" he demanded. One of the older alien scholars replied. His name is Elias Ren, former tactical commander of Earth's Black Navy. He disappeared when the nightfall went dark. Another added, he was known for fighting against the impossible and winning. Zoltor roared in frustration. "He is just one man, one ship. Why can't we kill him?" The scholar replied. "Because he's not just a man, he's a symbol, and symbols can't be killed." Nightfall sends a phantom while, the aliens argued. The Nightfall moved silently through an asteroid field. Suddenly, a second Nightfall appeared on their scanners, then a third, then a fourth. Panic spread. Multiple human battleships detected. The alien commanders shouted, but it was a trick. Ren had used an old, tactic-deploying holographic decoy ships that reflected radar and light. The alien fleets opened fire, wasting thousands of missiles on empty illusions. Meanwhile, the real Nightfall snuck behind them, and then it fired one blast. 2.A hole. Command station was destroyed before the aliens even realized what happened. Ren speaks to the galaxy after the battle. Ren sent a new message, not to the military, but to the people of the galaxy, civilians, workers, farmers, students. They saw his face on every screen. He spoke calmly. "This is not revenge. This is memory. You forgot what we were. You erased us from history. Now you'll remember us again." His eyes narrowed. "We don't want war. But if war finds us again, we will not play fair." Then the screen cut. New fears. New divisions across alien worlds. Fear turned to anger. Why had their leaders hidden the truth about humans? Why had they erased Earth's history? On some planets, citizens began protesting. In others, soldiers refused orders. A movement began to rise, a belief that the Nightfall wasn't the enemy, but a warning from history they ignored. Some whispered a dangerous idea. Maybe humanity wasn't the monster. Maybe we were. The galaxy was no longer laughing. In just a few days, one human battleship had destroyed fleets, confused entire armies, and broken the confidence of the most powerful empires. But the worst part, they still didn't understand how alien think. Felion, a cold metal moon near Zeltrax Prime, the best alien scientists gathered to study recordings from the Nightfall. Commander Zeltor stood behind them. "Tell me what we're missing," he growled. A tall scientist with yellow eyes spoke first. "Sir, their ship uses tactics from centuries ago. Old weapons, old codes added another. But somehow, they always hit us before we strike." An elder general whispered, "This is not normal warfare. This is something else." Zaltor shouted, "Explain it." The scientist replied carefully, "It's not about firepower anymore. They're fighting like ghosts. Ren's next. Move." Silence while the galaxy watched every scanner and satellite. The Nightfall vanished. No signal, no trace, no trace. It turned off all power. Drifted quietly through asteroid belts and radiation, clouds places alien sensors avoided. Commander Ren stood on the dark bridge, watching the stars pass. The AI spoke, "We've gone dark. They will panic." Ren nodded. "Let them. Silence is a weapon." False alarms and phantom strikes with the Nightfall missing. Alien fleets launched hundreds of patrols. Every false reading triggered an alarm. One ship fired on a harmless asteroid, thinking it was the Nightfall. Another dropped nukes on its own mining station by mistake. Fear had spread like a virus, and Ren hadn't fired a single shot. The first psychological strike, the planet Varix 4, a large military parade was held to calm the public. Soldiers marched, banners flew, leaders gave speeches. Then, the screens on every building flickered. A message appeared, "Do not cheer too loud. We remember who bombed our cities. Now it is your turn to listen." All the city lights went dark. For 60 full seconds, nothing moved. Returned, the Nightfall never showed itself, but the fear it left behind was worse than any weapon. Secret meeting between enemies in a hidden sector. A small alien ship approached the nightfall under a white signal of peace. Ren allowed it to come closer. Inside was High Commander Jorah, a general from the Jaren Empire, one of the few who had once respected humanity. He stood face to face with Ren inside the Nightfall's dark hall. "You've made your point," Jorah said. "You've shown strength." Ren's face stayed cold. "This isn't strength. This is memory." Jorah stepped forward. "What do you want?" Ren replied. "We don't want your planets. We don't want your fleets. We want you to remember what you did." Jorah said nothing. Then Ren added, "Tell your people to dig up your history files. Look at what really happened to Earth's colonies. Look at what your leaders hid. Tactics that made no sense, yet worked in the next ambush. The Nightfall used something strange. It sent junk into space, pieces of scrap, broken parts, old beacons. The aliens laughed until the scrap exploded into clouds of metal, dusty MP, clouds that disabled every ship in a 10-kilometer radius. One captain screamed, "Why would anyone use this ancient garbage?" Another pilot tried to retreat, but found his ship tangled in floating nets made from old mining wires. Old tools, old tricks, deadly results. Aliens questioned their leaders after weeks of failed attacks. The alien public began to turn. News networks played. Human battle recordings. Hidden history files were leaked. One famous alien historian appeared, Liv, and said, "We were taught that humans were simple-minded, that they lost the war because they were weak. But maybe they didn't lose. Maybe they disappeared on purpose. Maybe this was their final tactic." Inside the Nightfall, Ren talks to his ghost. Crewren sat alone in the captain's room. Old photos of Earth hung on the wall, a child's drawing, a broken medal. He spoke softly. "We didn't start this war." The ship's AI replied, "But we were ready to finish it." Ren smiled. "No, we don't finish wars. We remind people why they should never start one with us again." A soft voice echoed from the walls. One of the memory echoes spoke. "They finally fear us again." Ren's smile faded. "No," he said. "Not yet. Fear isn't enough. They need to understand." The setup for Phase 3 back on the alien capital, Zaltor sat alone, drinking in silence. His empires were falling apart. His generals were afraid to move, and somewhere in space, the Nightfall still drifted, waiting. Then a message arrived. From Ren. It was just 2 words. "Next phase." The screen went black. Suddenly, hundreds of satellites across alien space began to malfunction. Old Earth viruses, hidden in scrap parts and decoy transmissions, began shutting down communications. The next strike wouldn't come with missiles. It would come with silence, darkness, and panic. And the aliens would never know where Warhauren would hit next. The galaxy had never been so quiet. Communications were failing across every major system. Military networks flickered. Civilian broadcasts froze mid-sentence. Trade ships floated blind. Entire planets went dark, cut off from the Alliance and through the silence. One signal remained, a human signal from the Nightfall. It started on a small moon colony. A broken COM screen came to life, then another, and another. Within minutes, every terminal, console, and holoscreen across thousands of alien worlds turned on, showing a single figure. Commander Elias Ren. He stood alone in a dark room. Behind him, the faded flag of Earth. His voice was calm, cold, unshaken. "You erased us. You burned our worlds. You laughed at our tactics, our people, our way of war. You thought we were finished." He paused, then continued. "This is not a threat. This is history." The message spread through every system, even ones long thought secure. On the pleasure world of Kirill 9, rich aliens stopped dancing and turned to the screens. In the military academies of Varnax Prime, students froze as Ren's voice echoed through the halls. In mining camps, prisons, and deep space outposts, everyone heard it. "The truth is," revealed Ren spoke again. "Before Earth fell, we begged for peace. We offered surrender. We offered silence. 2L gave us fire." The broadcast changed. Suddenly, old videos began playing. Alien fleets bombing human cities, human refugees in space, left to die in cold orbit, alien commanders laughing during surrender talks. And then silence. Ren's face returned. "You taught us that mercy was weakness. So we removed mercy from our tactics. Now you learn what that means. The reaction across the stars, the galaxy changed instantly. On hundreds of alien worlds, protests broke out. Young aliens raised to believe humans were monsters now saw the truth. Some wept, some were angry, and some were afraid, very afraid. The nightfall hadn't just struck with weapons, it had struck the story, and stories were stronger than fleets. Back in the Nightfall inside the Nightfall, Commander Wren watched the chaos unfold through deep space monitors. Impact? He asked. The ship's AI replied, 17 military colonies in panic mode, 12 major fleets refusing orders, over 300,000 civilians demanding to speak to Earth. Wren whispered, but Earth is gone. The AI paused, then replied, not completely. You remain. An unexpected message. Suddenly, a blinking light appeared on the console. Incoming signal, encrypted, ancient code, human. Wren froze. He tapped the screen. A voice came through. Weak, broken. Commander, this is Atlas Station, Lunar. Outpost 7, we received your broadcast. Wren stepped back. Impossible, he muttered. The AI confirmed. Atlas Station was destroyed 187 years ago. But the voice continued. We survived in silence. Low power. No signal. Waiting. Hoping your signal woke us. Wren gripped the console. He wasn't the only one left. The aliens turn on each other back on the alien capital world. Supreme Commander Zaltor shouted at the War Council. Shut it down. Cut the feed. But it was too late. One general refused. Another accused the High Council of hiding war crimes. Within minutes, fights broke out in the chamber. Weapons were drawn. Ships in orbit turned their guns on each other. One species declared independence. Another offered to ally with Wren. The galaxy that once laughed at humanity was now tearing itself apart. Wren's final words on the broadcast as the video reached its end. Wren spoke again. His voice was softer now. We do not want your planets. We do not want your people. We do not want war. But we will have the truth. We will have memory. He looked straight into the camera. You can destroy history, but you can't destroy what we became because of it. Then the signal faded to black dot. No sound, just silence, in the shadows of stars far away. In deep space, the Nightfall disappeared again, cloaked, silent, unknown. It had no army, no empire, just one man. And the memory of a species the galaxy tried to erase. Now, every corner of space whispered the same thing. The humans are watching, and they haven't even begun yet. The galaxy was burning with fear. After the human battleship Nightfall released the truth, alien empires were no longer united. Some turned against their own leaders. Others begged for peace. But not everyone wanted the war to end. Some wanted revenge. And they had a plan. The mission begins in the deep shadows of Sector 93. A small stealth pod launched from a Jaren fleet. Inside it was Caravel, a half-Jaren intelligence agent, trained in infiltration, expert in deception. Her mission was clear: find the human commander, learn how the Nightfall works, then destroy it. Her ship had no weapons, only stealth tech, black armor, and a neural interface to hack human systems. She knew the risks, but this was personal. Her brother had died fighting humans during the First War. Tracking the ghost ship finding the Nightfall wasn't easy. It left no trail, no heat, no signal, but Kara was smart. She studied debris fields from battles, traced odd power fluctuations, and followed patterns. It moves like a predator, she whispered. Slow, patient, but always watching. Then finally she saw something. A blinking signal, faint, broken, like a dying beacon. It was a trap, and she went straight for it, boarding the Nightfall. Kara's pod latched silently onto the side of the massive black ship. No alarms, no guns, just silence. She entered through a maintenance hatch and slipped into the empty corridors of the Nightfall. The lights flickered. The halls were cold. Her visor showed no life signs, except one. Deep below the command deck, she moved quickly. Every wall showed scars from old battles and whispers. Faint voices. Human voices. Ghosts in the Halkara turned a corner and froze. A young human child stood in the hallway. But when she blinked, vanished. Her scanner said, memory echo detected. More whispers, old laughter, screams. Earth music from centuries ago. "This ship is alive," she muttered. "No, not alive. Haunted." Every part of the Nightfall carried memories of the humans who died building it, and they watched her face to face. With Renkara finally reached the core, there standing in the shadows, was Commander Elias Wren.com, still waiting. "Expected you sooner," he said. Kara raised her weapon. Wren didn't move. He looked at her calmly. "You've lost someone," he said. She hesitated. He continued, "You think this mission will bring him peace, but war never brings peace, only memory." "I don't care about your speeches," she snapped. "I came to end this." The truth, Hertzren didn't attack. Instead, he showed her something, a data file, her brother's name, her brother's final words, recorded by a human medical ship. He didn't die fighting. He died saving human civilians. From a collapsing colony, he was a hero. But his empire lied. Told Kara he died killing humans. Her hands shook. Everything she believed was false. An offer she never expected. Wren stepped forward. "You came here to kill me." She didn't respond. "But what? If I offered you the truth instead?" Kara stared at him. Wren held out a chip. "Take this to your people. It holds everything. Real history, real orders." "From your leaders? You want peace?" he asked. "Then show them what really happened." A silent escape. Kara left the Nightfall. No one stopped her. No weapons fired. She returned to her command with the data chip, but something inside her had changed, and she knew if she handed over this chip to her commanders, they'd destroy it. So instead, she disappeared, gone. Some say she hid among rebels. Others say she tried to contact surviving human colonies. No one knows, except Wren. Back on the Nightfall, the AI spoke to Wren. Was it wise to let her go? Wren answered quietly. She came looking for a weapon, but instead, she found the truth. He turned toward the stars. Let's see what she does with it. The galaxy had changed. The Nightfall's broadcast had torn the lies apart. Alliances were breaking. Truth was spreading. But far away beyond dead zones, asteroid belts, and forgotten trade lanes, something else was waking. A signal weak, but real, buried in a pocket of space. Ignored for over 200 years, and only one ship heard it, the Nightfall. A whisper from the past, unknown transmission detected. The AI said. Wren stepped forward. Source, uncharted sector. Labeled in Old Earth records as Erebus Reach. Wren stared at the coordinates. "That's impossible. Nothing survived out there." But the signal repeated, a human signal, old, broken, but alive. It spoke just one line. "To any survivors, we are still here." Journey to Erebus reached the Nightfall, broke through dying stars and collapsed wormholes. The sector was a graveyard of ships both alien and human, silent, forgotten. But deep within a nebula cloud, Wren saw it, a small planet hidden by natural radiation, shielded, protected, and there under artificial camouflage was something no one believed existed anymore. The last human colony. A world frozen in time as the Nightfall descended. Wren saw cities built into the rocks, crude technology, old designs, children playing with mechanical toys from Earth's early days. It wasn't a military base, it was a survival world. No, one on the surface knew the war was still going. They believed Earth had fallen and they were all that remained. Wren landed in silence. When the hatch opened, hundreds of people stared. Old men, young women, children. Then an elderly woman stepped forward. She looked at Wren and whispered, You're from Earth." The truth hits hard. They took him to their underground archive. It was filled with books, maps, and a cracked globe. Of Earth, Wren explained what had happened. The war, the betrayals, the destruction of Earth, and the survival of the Nightfall. Many broke down in tears. Others were angry, but one thing was clear. They were ready. A colony that remembered everything, and like other survivors who went into hiding. This colony had prepared. Every child was trained. In defense, every adult knew survival tactics, and hidden deep beneath the city was a hangar with 4 old Earth battleships. Wounded, rusty, but functional. Wren was shocked. "You kept them all these years." The leader nodded. "They were built by those who refused to give up. We kept them hidden in case Earth ever called." Wren looked at the ships. "They're not much," he said quietly. The woman replied, "They're enough." A new hope that night. The people of Erebus Reach gathered under the stars. Ren stood before them and said, "The galaxy thinks humanity is dead, but we are not dead. We are the memory. We are the fire. We are the storm that waited." The colony cheered. Children held up human flags. Old soldiers opened storage crates filled with old armor and rifles. The fire had returned. The signal. Isentrin ordered the AI to prepare a new transmission. This time, it would not be a warning. It would be a rallying cry to every human survivor across the stars. You are not alone. The galaxy was watching. The truth had spread. The signal from Erebus Reach was no longer a secret. Human survivors, once scattered and silent, had heard it. Some were hiding on moon bases. Some were prisoners in alien mining colonies. Others had gone dark for centuries, forgotten by history now. They were all waking up. The return of the forgotten old Earth ships, Rosti and Sloros, from asteroids, human weapons, once traded away for food, were pulled from vaults. Across 10 sectors, survivors sent one message: "We're in. Give us a target." Ren watched the star map light up. The galaxy had no idea. Humanity was not rebuilding. It was retaliating. Target: the core ring. At the heart of the enemy alliance sat the core ring, a massive space station made by the Jaren, controlling over half the known systems. This was where war orders were given, where lies were created, where millions of alien commanders lived in luxury, while others died. Ren pointed at the map. This is where it ends. He named the operation Final Echo, a suicide mission. The other captains looked uneasy. "We don't have the numbers," said one. "We don't have the tech," said another. Ren didn't argue. He just smiled. "They laughed at our tactics once. They won't laugh this time." Then he activated the Nightfall's deepest systems tech no alien had ever seen. Stealth, gravity weapons, dimensional phase missiles. The old Earth ships from Erebus Reach synced their systems. They weren't pretty, but they were powerful, and they were ready. The spy returned suddenly. A message came in, encrypted. Human-coded. It was Kara Veltha, former Jaren spy who had escaped the Nightfall in Part 7. She looked tired, but her eyes were burning with truth. "I have data," she said. "The core ring is building something. A final weapon. They call it the Silencer. It can destroy entire solar systems." Ren nodded. "Then we hit them before they're ready," Kara added. "I want in." Ren smiled. "You've already earned your place." Final Echo begins. The fleet was small. Only one battleship, the Nightfall. For older warships from Erebus Reach, 16 stealth pods carrying exiled humans, and one spy ship together. They launched no grand speeches, no glory, just one plan: get in, destroy the core ring, send a message that the war was over, and that humanity would never be erased again. The infiltration: as they reached the core ring, the alien sensors lit up red, unidentified human fleet approaching. Commanders laughed. They brought old ships. They're desperate. But the Nightfall cloaked. The stealth pods vanished from radar. And inside the ring, explosions. The first pod breached the wall. Elite human fighters poured in fast, quiet. Deadly. Alien officers screamed. They had forgotten what it meant to fear humans. The price of Wartha. Erebus Reach ships took heavy fire. One was torn apart. Another collided with a drone swarm and exploded. But they kept moving. They had waited 200 years for this moment. They would not stop now. The countdown ticked 5, 4, 3. Inside the Nightfall, Ren stood alone on the bridge. The battle outside had turned chaotic. Explosions shook the core ring. Human fighters were still fighting deep inside the enemy command center. But Ren had made his choice. The Nightfall would not escape. It would become the final message. The echo detonates to 1, a blinding white. Light exploded from the heart of the core ring. The blast spread through the metal layers like fire through dry wood. The alien command center shattered. Data systems fried. Shield cores melted, and then silence. The galaxy's most powerful war hub, the place that had ruled hundreds of systems, was gone in one instant. Shockwaves across the Rizalian warlords watched in horror. Their screens went black. Their fleets lost contact with the core. Ring. Panic spread. Command ships collided while retreating. In every corner of the galaxy. Species who had mocked or ignored humanity now stared at one truth: the humans were back. And they were done playing games. The message that changed history as the nightfall exploded. A final signal was sent across every known channel. It showed the destruction of the core ring. Then came Ren's voice, calm, steady, powerful. To those who forgot us, we never left. To those who erased us, we remember. We do not conquer, but we do not forgive. This was our warning. The last one. The message ended with the image of Earth's flag rising behind the wreckage. The galaxy went silent. No one knew what to say. Heroes of the shadows, the Erebus reached ships, though damaged, survived. Caravel's spy ship escaped with wounded fighters across. The stars, human survivors, cheered in prison camps, secret colonies, and dark corners of dead worlds. People began raising the old Earth banners again. A new movement was born. Human unity fleets. They were not an empire, not a government. They were an idea, a flame, a signal that the age of silence was over. Kara's last words. Kara stood at a broadcast station on an old moon. She addressed every alien race watching the aftermath. We didn't start this war. You brought it to our doorstep, and we brought you the storm. Remember this day? Well, because it was the day the galaxy went silent.